Good morning. Buenos dias. I must confess that is pretty much the only Spanish that I know, but I'm happy to share what I know with you. And congratulations on this event. And I know ANDAMOS has been around for 5 years, but I believe this is your first Congress. And congratulations to all of you, but a special congratulations to Guillermo Dillon for his vision, his leadership, and his personal commitment to the success of ANDAMOS. So congratulations. About ASAE. I'm going to share with you a number of facts about ASAE. I'm also going to share with you some information about many of our programs, the way in which we're structured, and some of our publications. And then from that vantage point, hopefully when I'm finished, we can go into a question and answer opportunity so that if you have questions of me, I'd be happy to answer those questions to the best of my ability, and I'm looking forward to spending the rest of the day with you. So I'm delighted to be here, and thank you very much. So ASAE is an individual membership association. We are this year 96 years old. We will celebrate our 100th anniversary in 2020. We represent 23,000 individual members who represent about 10,000 organizations in the United States. The vast majority of our members are leading trade and professional societies. We have a staff of about 130. We have a budget of roughly $40 million, and we have an office in Washington, D.C., which is where we do most of our work. Our value proposition is to really bring together great people and great ideas. That's really what we're about. That is everything that we do. If you think about the essence of an association, that's really what you're doing here as well. It's about bringing together great people with great ideas to contribute to the greater good. ASAE's activities are really formed around what we call 4 core competencies, or as the slide says, pillars. First is learning, second is knowledge, third is community, and the fourth is advocacy. Learning is what you're doing here in this conference. It's what we do in the U.S. as well. It's bringing people together to learn from each other. Knowledge is the body of knowledge about the profession of association management. I know you're going to have a discussion here about the 7 measures of success, as Guillermo indicated, that we did in conjunction with Jim Collins. But there are many other bodies of knowledge around the profession of association management that I hope you will make yourselves available to, because I think if you think about it, the knowledge of association management is really, it's a profession. It's like medicine, or it's like law. You just don't, many people sort of get into association management by accident, but once they get there, they need to learn how to do it, how to be successful, to run successful associations. And so knowledge creation is something that ASAE is all about. So learning, knowledge. Third area is community. Community is important because community is how we share together. Community can be face-to-face like we're here today, but community can also be virtual. Community can be online. It can be social networking. It can be sharing, developing a community, an organic community that you have among your friends and colleagues who are in the association profession. So community for us has many definitions. The important piece about community is that people come together to learn from each other. And as you well know, you learn as much or maybe even more in the hallway as you do in a formal presentation. And so ASAE is all about trying to help people form communities so that they can learn from each other and at the same time contribute to the body of knowledge. So when you think about it, learning, knowledge, and community go hand in hand. You can't have one without the other. All 3 are important. And it's about 90% of what ASAE is all about. And the final area is advocacy. And advocacy for us has two faces. The first face is the public face of the importance of associations, and I'm going to talk about that later when I talk about the power of A, the power of associations, which is a branding campaign that ASAE has. And I encourage you to use that campaign in Mexico as well. It's because it's not an ASAE campaign, it's a global campaign to talk about the power of associations. But the second part of advocacy for us is to advocate on behalf of associations to the federal government, both Congress, the administration, as well as regulators. In the case of the U.S., those regulators are the Internal Revenue Service. That's who regulates U.S. nonprofit NGOs. And so we work very closely in those issues. Our primary issues are First Amendment rights to associate and lobby the government, and the second area is around tax policy. They're the two areas that we focus on most when we talk about advocacy in the United States. ASAE University is the brand under which we conduct all of our learning programs. As you can see, we conduct a number of symposia, workshops, online learning, certificate programs, certifications, conferences and expos. Some of you in the room I know have been to our annual conference and expo. That conference and expo next year, this coming year, excuse me, in August, will be in Salt Lake, City, Utah. And I know many of you, Guillermo and many of your colleagues, have been to that conference, and encourage as many as who want to go. Now let me move into the CAE, or our certification program, Certified Association Executive. This program was started in 1960, so it's well over 50 years old, 56 years old. And what it does is that it certifies that an individual is competent in 9 areas of association management. That's really what it does. Excuse me, you take an exam and you determine and certify, and when you pass that exam, it means that you should be, and I think are, for people who have done it, competent to manage an association. These are the 9 domains: strategic management, governance and structure, membership development, programs and products, leadership, administration, knowledge management and research, marketing and communications, and public policy. Now, for almost every association in the world, the first 8 of those are universal. They're applicable to everyone. The one area where you need to make some adjustments, and I know ANDAMOS would like to do a certification program in Mexico, is the 9th domain, which is public policy, and to some degree that has to be modified for the laws that you have in Mexico governing nonprofit NGOs and associations. Otherwise, the other 8 domains are totally the same, I believe, and would be totally applicable here or in China, and in Europe. And so over the next several years, we are going to work with a number of different international associations to really try to internationalize the CAE, to better professionalize those individuals who want to become association professionals and be certified and recognized as association professionals. I'm going to talk a little bit more about our global footprint and what we're doing globally a little bit later in the presentation, but I wanted to highlight the CAE at this point in time in terms of what we're doing both in the U.S. And as you can see here, this slide just talks about, why get the CAE? Because the CAE documents and demonstrates that you have the competencies, the knowledge, the skill to lead and manage at a senior level an association. It's not that simple, but that's really what the CAE is all about. I'm going to switch gears now and move into association career headquarters. One of the things that we learned, so if you were to go to ASAE's website, we have a main website, but we also have 19 different landing pages. And landing pages are things like Association Career Headquarters or the Power of A, or events and meetings. The most visited landing page for ASAE's website is Career, Association Career Headquarters. Not surprising. Association Career Headquarters started out as a simple job board, meaning that it was an online job board where jobs in associations in the U.S. were posted. So it was very much a niche, what you would call a niche job board. But what we discovered is that because of the interest in careers in associations, we thought it would be applicable to really expand what the Career Headquarters does. And so now we have branded it Association Career HQ, and it really serves two individual audiences. It serves job seekers, as you can see here on the screen with everything we do there, including counseling services, resume services, doing mock interviews if you're not comfortable doing that, reference checks, those types of things for individuals who want a career path. In the future, we'll be doing assessment tools that enable people who work in associations to assess what they know, and then to, of course, assess and learn what they don't know and need to learn, and then where they can learn that. And so we'll be moving forward much more over the next several years if you follow this. And by the way, Association Career Headquarters is a free site. You don't need to be a member of ASAE to access this site. Anybody in the world can access this site free. So there is no charge for it. You don't have to be a member to access it. The second part that we're working on is in the area of resources for employers or talent management. Talent management is an important feature for all employers, and it's particularly important for associations, because associations typically, most people, as I indicated earlier, kind of wake up one day and they sort of work for an association. Nobody goes to school to say, I want to become an association executive. At least I didn't do that, and I know most of my colleagues in the U.S. didn't, and I would venture to say most of you in this room didn't either. But one day you wake up and you are an association professional. And so what associations have to learn to do is to keep and retain those individuals if they come to work for your association, because there's going to be and continues to be a rush for talent. And in the U.S., with this shifting demographics, there's a smaller cohort to take on leadership jobs as the U.S. population ages, much like it is doing in Europe and Japan. The same thing is happening in the U.S. So there's really a rush for talent for people to work in associations as well as other corporations and companies in the U.S. So it's important for associations to be really focused on talent management. And that's at the Association Career Headquarters site. What we want to do is to focus on association management and that talent management piece of it that is so important. Let me switch gears again now, because volunteers are important and significant to ASAE. We have over 1,000 volunteer positions that are filled every year in various committees and section councils, professional section councils. I'll talk a little bit about our structure. We also have opportunities for what we call micro-volunteering or just-in-time volunteering. That means that you're not on a committee or a section council or a board, but rather you're available to write an article, to put on a program, to write questions for the CAE exam, different ways that you can micro-volunteer on your own time, on your own terms. And that micro-volunteering is becoming much more important as we move forward, and because people more and more are less likely to sign up right away, but more likely to want to do some just-in-time volunteering or micro-volunteering before they sign up to be on a committee or a board or something along those lines. So that kind of cultural change is occurring now, and it really is a paradigm shift from what it used to be 15 or 20 years ago. So here's a chart of a slide of ASAE's structure. ASAE is made up of many components. We have the ASAE board. The ASAE board only has 3 committees itself. It has a finance committee, it has a leadership or nominating committee, and it has an audit committee. They are the only 3 committees that the ASAE board has. ASAE board has, including myself, 20 people on it. That's the size of the board. But we also have several other entities, as you can see. I'm going to talk about these in a minute. We have the ASAE Foundation, which is a philanthropic arm of ASAE. People can make contributions to the ASAE Foundation, and in the U.S. these contributions are tax-deductible contributions on your income tax. And I'm going to talk what the Research Foundation does, the ASAE Research Foundation does, but as you can see, they have 2 committees, a fundraising or development committee, and they have a research committee. And then you can also see that we have something called ASAE Business Services. ASAE Business Services is a for-profit subsidiary wholly owned by ASAE. There's 1 share of stock, and ASAE owns that share of stock. So we are the controlling owner of ASAE Business Services. Now, what does ASAE Business Services do? ASAE Business Services sells to associations products and services. We sell insurance products, officers and directors liability, for example, general liability, errors and omissions, event cancellation insurance, those types of insurance products. We also sell other types of products that help associations. We just launched a new product called the ASAE Retirement Trust, which is a retirement program for association staff. And what we are able to do is take all the association staff that are interested in participating and aggregate them into like they were one employer. It would be like taking all the staff that are members of the various associations in Mexico, putting them all together in one pool, even though they have separate employers, but putting them together in one pool, and you have one retirement trust around that. And we are especially doing this for the small and medium associations in the U.S. because they don't really have the resources to be able to get good retirement programs at affordable prices because the fees and administrative costs are too high. So this is another area that we're working on under the ASAE Business Services. So we provide other types of business services from credit card processing with Chase Payment Tech, to Xerox document storage, different types of services that associations use. So that's that structure. And then you have the committees up there. Now, under that, I said there are 3 board committees, and there are 3 board committees only. Under that, we have about 46 different committees and section councils. Section councils for us are professional concentration areas. So a section council would be in government relations, in membership, in marketing, in finance, in public policy, so all the various verticals that are part of staffing in associations. And so when members join ASAE, they can pick 1 or all 13 interest areas to join. It doesn't cost any more or less money to join the interest areas, so they can do that. So we have like 13 of those, and then we have various committees that do the work. What's important to know about ASAE's volunteer structure is that we have over 500 different products and services that we perform every year at ASAE. Our volunteers are working integrally with staff on over half of those. So we have a very robust and vibrant volunteer community that really adds to everything that ASAE does, and that ASAE could not do what we do without that volunteer corps. So volunteers are very important to us. The ASAE Foundation is really about research, leadership, community, and communication. That's what the foundation is all about, but it is really focused primarily on raising money for 2 things:
recaudar dinero.
Industry and market
Para
research.
dos cosas.
Industry
Para la
research, and
industria
I'll
y
cut to
el
the chase
mercado,
on this
para
one quickly
investigación
here.
en ambas áreas.
Industry research is
Esto
focused
a
on
detalle,
helping
la
ASAE members.
investigación se enfoca
We were talking
en
at
ayudar a los
breakfast here
miembros
and
de
talking
ASAE,
about
y
operating
nos vamos a
ratios
enfocar entonces
as a
en
publication that
las
ASAE puts out
publicaciones
there.
de, como dicen las
These
publicaciones
are
de
all
ASAE,
workforce
cómo podemos
development,
operar
trends
para
in
la
environmental
comunidad,
scanning, global
innovación,
management,
desarrollo de
technology,
fuerza de trabajo,
compensation,
gestión
operating ratios, as I
global,
mentioned already. These are
compensaciones
the
y
various tools that
tecnología,
we
diferentes
provide to
proporciones
help
de
our
operación en
members,
asociaciones.
to help
Estas
our
son
members
algunas de
be
las
more
herramientas
successful,
que
so that they can
utilizamos para
benchmark
ayudar a
against
crecer
other
a nuestros
associations,
miembros.
so they
Y
can
esto
see
es
if
lo
they
que
are a
nos lleva a
$2 million
trabajar con otras
organization
asociaciones.
with
Si
10
tenemos una
staff,
organización
how
con
much
$2
money
millones de
is
dólares,
the
con 10
typical
empleados,
organization
¿cuánto
spending
dinero
on
tendrá
occupancy or on compensation
una
for staff
organización y cuánto
or
utilizará
on
probablemente para
program
compensar a
activities
sus
or
empleados
standard setting
o con
or
programas
program
de actividades
education?
o,
So
o
that
programas
type of
educativos,
information.
etcétera. Ese tipo
And then
de
we also
información es lo que
do
nos
market
interesa.
research,
También por otro lado
which is really
hacemos
focused on
investigación de mercado, que se
ASAE's
enfoca
market
en
needs.
todo lo que
In
son
this
las
particular
necesidades de
area,
mercado
we talk
de
about
la
doing
ASAE.
business analytics.
Aquí
We talk
hacemos
about
análisis
program
de
evaluations.
negocios y hablamos
Every
de
time we do a
evaluaciones de
program,
programas. Cada
we
vez
send
que
out an
nosotros hacemos un
evaluation.
programa,
Every program we do,
enviamos una
we send out an
evaluación. Cada
evaluation,
programa
which is
conlleva
a
una
detailed
evaluación,
evaluation on
que
every
es una
speaker
evaluación
and every
detallada
program
de
that we
cada
do.
presentador
And then
y
when we
de
get
cada
that
programa que
information back,
realizamos.
we score
Cuando
it.
nos llega la
And
retroalimentación de
then
esto, le
when
damos un
when we
puntaje.
recognize that
Una
we haven't
vez que
scored very
hemos
well on a
reconocido
particular
que
program,
tenemos un
that
buen
gives us an
puntaje en cierto
opportunity to
programa,
modify
vemos
it or
que
change it to
puede
make
haber
it
una
better.
oportunidad
So it's
incluso
that
de
constant
mejorarlo todavía.
process of
Existe un proceso
executing,
constante
evaluating,
de
executing,
ejecución,
evaluating
evaluación,
to come up with a better
evaluación
and
y
better
mejora.
product.
Y todo esto para
And so we do
seguir
it,
teniendo
that's part
productos
of
cada
what
vez
we do with
mejores.
market
Esto es
research.
parte de lo que
And
hacemos
as you
en la
can see, there's a
investigación de
number of
mercado.
different things we
Como
do
podemos
there,
ver, hay varios
including a member,
puntos que también
annually we do a member
usamos. Como por
satisfaction
ejemplo,
survey.
el último
And we
de
just send it
la
out at
encuesta de
random to
satisfacción de
members
miembros. Esto se
and
le manda
ask them
al
to
azar a
rate
algunos
their
miembros y
satisfaction
les
with
pedimos
ASAE.
que hagan
And
esa
we hold ourselves
evaluación
accountable
de
to
satisfacción.
what
Y
that
entonces nos
metric
hacemos
is.
responsables de lo que
So
surja
to
de
give
esta
you an
evaluación.
example, on
Bueno,
a
para
scale of 1
darles
to
un
5,
ejemplo,
which
en
is
una
the
escala del 1 al
metric
5,
scale we
que
use,
es una escala
our
métrica que
programs
utilizamos generalmente, nuestros
generally
programas
evaluate at about a
se evalúan
4.3
en
to a 4.4
4.3 a 4.4
out of 5.
de 5.
Overall member satisfaction, which
En cuanto a la
includes people
satisfacción
who
general de los
don't even
miembros, que
go to
incluye
our
gente que ni
program,
siquiera tiene acceso a
averages
nuestros
about
programas,
3.9
el
on a
promedio
scale
es
of
de
5.
3.9
Now that's
en
okay
una escala de
because
5. Y eso
if you don't,
permítame
if the
decirles
only
que
thing
está
you
muy
do
bien,
is pay your
porque si
dues
lo
and
único
get
que
the
hacemos
magazine,
es
you
pagar
really
y
don't have a
tener
lot
la
to
revista, no
evaluate
tenemos
other than
mucho
the
que
magazine.
evaluar, más
So
allá que
we
la
don't
revista.
expect to get high scores
No
there.
esperemos
But if
entonces
we can
tener
get,
un
we strive to
puntaje
get,
de
if we
esto.
can get a
Pero si
4.5 on any given
tenemos un
program, we feel like we've
4.5
been very
programa,
successful.
4.5
When those
en
scores
algún
drop
programa,
below
sentimos que eso es
4,
muy
we
exitoso.
start
Cuando
to
esto
worry
baja
about that
del 4,
program.
sí nos
Or
comenzamos a
we worry
preocupar
about
por
that
esto.
speaker.
O a lo mejor del
So
presentador, que algo
that's
está
how we
pasando.
monitor that
Y esa es la
and
forma en
how
la
we
que
pay
nosotros
attention to it.
monitoreamos esto y cómo lo trabajamos.
We also have a grants program,
También tenemos por otro
and
lado
we
un
have
programa
4
de
grants that we
becarios.
give out for
Tenemos
$10,000 each year, each,
4 subsidios de
for a total of
$10,000 cada uno, un
$40,000,
total de
and we give those to
$40,000
associations
anuales, y se
who come up with
otorgan a las
innovative ideas that they
asociaciones
want to
que
test.
tienen
These are
ideas que
ideas that
quieren probar.
associations say, I
Estas
want
son
to try a
ideas que
new
las
membership
asociaciones
model.
quieren
I
probar,
want to
como
try
por
a new
ejemplo un
program.
nuevo modelo
I want to
de
try a new way
membresía, un nuevo
of
programa
publishing.
de
And so we
publicidad,
provide grant money
o
to
de
help them
publicación.
do that.
Entonces lo que hacemos
At the
es
same time,
otorgarles
we
ese
also
subsidio para que
provide
lo hagan. Y al
grant
mismo
money
tiempo
to
damos un
scholars.
subsidio a
So these are
aquellos
academically
académicos.
based
Estos
professors
son
in U.S.
profesores
colleges
con
and
una base en
universities
facultades,
who
en
do
las
research
universidades
in the
que
NGO field.
hacen investigación
And so we
en
provide them
ciertas
grants
áreas, y en
to
todo,
do their
sobre
research,
todo en las
much like you would
ONGs.
provide a
Y
grant
damos
to
ese
a
subsidio,
scientist
no
to
sé,
do
probablemente para
biomedical
los
research.
científicos para
We
llevar a
provide
cabo
grants
investigación biomédica,
to
y también lo
academicians
hacemos
to
a los
do
académicos para
research
que
in the
hagan
field of
investigación en las
NGOs and
áreas de
nonprofit
ONGs y
organizations
de
and
organizaciones
associations.
no
So that's another
lucrativas.
area that we focus
Esas
on
son
in
dos
the
áreas en las
ASAE
que también nos
Foundation.
enfocamos, sobre todo en la Fundación
We
de
also have
ASAE.
many publications
También
that
tenemos diferentes
many of you have
publicaciones,
seen.
y
You're
muchos
using
ya
one
la han
here,
visto, algunos la están
7
utilizando
measures
aquí, como
of
estas
success.
las 7 medidas
I
del
think that
éxito.
translates
Me
into
parece
7
que
principles,
eso
but it's
se
the same
tradujo
thing.
como 7
Doesn't matter.
principios, es lo mismo de
It's the
todas
same
maneras,
publication,
es la misma
but we have
publicación,
many
de
other
hecho, pero
publications that
tenemos
we
muchas
have.
otras publicaciones que hemos
The
hecho.
Essentials of the Profession,
La parte esencial de la
Association Law
profesión,
Handbook.
o
These these
también
are all
el
major
manual
publications
legal de
that we
las
have, and
asociaciones,
you have a speaker,
etcétera.
Sherry Jacobs,
Tenemos
this afternoon,
también Jerry Jacobs va
who
a
has
hablar de
published
uno de
3
estos.
books
Él
with
ha
us now,
publicado, de hecho, con nosotros
and
3 libros
maybe
ya.
there's a fourth in
Y
the making. I don't
probablemente
know. There
ya
probably
tenga
is,
otro en el
knowing
horno.
Sherry.
Bueno,
But
no
you'll
lo
have an
sé
opportunity to
todavía,
hear Sherry this
pero bueno, él
afternoon
tendrá la oportunidad
talk
de
about her
compartir con
work,
nosotros en esta
particularly in
tarde
the
sobre
area
su
of
trabajo,
membership and
particularmente
engagement.
en el área
And
de
it's a
compromiso y
fascinating topic,
membresía.
and I
Es
think
un
it
tema
gets to the core
fascinante
of
y
what
creo que llega
associations are about.
realmente
It's
a lo
how do you
principal, a
engage your
la
members?
tarea
How do
de
you
las
make your members
asociaciones. Cómo es
want
que
you more
obtenemos
and more and
membresía,
more,
pero sobre
so that you
todo
become
que
indispensable
obtenemos
to
este
them. And that
compromiso de
really
parte
is
de
the trick.
ellos.
That's really
Es en
your
realidad es
value proposition
indispensable.
to your
Eso
members.
es lo que
So
da
we
valor
produce a lot
a
of
los miembros.
publications
Y bueno,
and knowledge
producimos
resources.
varias
We just
publicaciones y
introduced
recursos.
something very new, so
Apenas hablamos de algo
for those of you
nuevo que
who
se acaba de
enjoyed the
introducir,
operating
para quienes
ratios
les
report,
gustó mucho el
we
reporte
will
de
probably
las
stop publishing that in
proporciones de
about a year.
operación, probablemente
What
vamos a
we're going
empezar
to
a
do
trabajar
is what
más en
we've
esto
created
en
is
un
something
año.
we're
Lo que
calling
haremos
associational
es
metrics.
algo que le llamamos
Associational
métrica
metrics.
de
It's
asociaciones.
kind of a
Es
US word that ties
como muy americano este
association and
término,
metrics
pero
together.
vaya,
It will be a
trata de ligar
real-time
la métrica y
benchmarking
las
tool.
asociaciones. Y esto en
We're
realidad
going
va a
to be
ser una herramienta
benchmarking,
de
we're going to
comparación
be
muy
asking
fuerte.
organizations, both
Como
using US tax
organizaciones vamos
forms
a
as well
utilizar
as
formas de
information from
impuestos americanas,
associations
al igual que
to create a
informaciones de
benchmarking
diferentes
tool that you
asociaciones
can
para
use in
crear una
real time.
herramienta de benchmarking que
You
podemos
can learn
utilizar
about
en
compensation,
tiempo
you
real.
can learn
Podremos
about all the
aprender
operating
entonces de
ratios, but instead of
compensación,
it
de
being
todas las
information that
proporciones
might
de
be a year or
operación,
two old,
etcétera, las
it'll
tasas de
be,
operación, y a lo mejor en vez de
an
tener una
hour old,
compensación de 1 o
or
2
2
años,
days old.
probablemente nos lleve una
So
o dos
what we would
dos
call
horas o 2
benchmarking
días.
in real
Y a
time.
esto le
Over the
llamamos
next couple of
benchmarking en
years, this will
tiempo
become a
real,
very
o
robust
comparativo
source
en tiempo
of
real.
data
También
for
tenemos una
associations
base
to be
mucho
able
más
to
sólida
use when
de
they want
datos para
information
que lo
about how
podamos
they
utilizar en
compare
nuestras
to other
asociaciones sobre
organizations of
cómo
like
podemos
sizes in like
compararnos con
professions or
otras
like industries.
asociaciones u organizaciones con similares profesiones
Recent
o
releases
industrias.
include, I
En
think
cuanto
we
a
have
las publicaciones
associational
recientes,
metrics up there,
incluimos
the new
estos,
CEO's
tenemos
Guide, focus
la
on
nueva
what
guía de
matters, a
CEOs,
3-step workbook for
los
selecting
resultados
and sunsetting
extraordinarios,
association
cómo
programs.
tenerlos, y algunos programas también
You know, this
en
is
la
an important
asociación.
publication
Bueno,
because
esta
what
es una publicación
associations have
importante
trouble
porque
doing is to
le-
stop
con lo
doing
que se nos
things.
complica a las
Associations are great at
entonces
creating
dejamos de
things,
hacerlo.
but
Las
they have trouble
asociaciones, las
deciding to
asociaciones son
stop doing
importantes y
things.
buenas
What this
haciendo
publication
cosas, pero
does is
tenemos
it
que
gives you
saber
a
cuándo dejar de
discipline, if you
hacerlas.
will,
Lo
a
que nos da esta
process that you can
publicación es que
use
nos da una
to
disciplina en un
evaluate
proceso
what you're
que
doing
podemos
currently
utilizar para
and
evaluar lo
determine
que
whether or
estamos
not it
haciendo
is still relevant to
actualmente y
the
cómo
audience.
podemos determinar si
And if
sigue
it isn't
relevante
still
o no
relevant,
para
it gives
nuestros
you
miembros.
objective,
Y si
not
esto pasa,
subjective,
entonces nos va a dar de forma
data
objetiva, que
that
no
says
subjetiva,
we probably
la
ought to stop doing
información que
this. Because you know what
probablemente
happens
nos
when you try
llevará
to stop
a
doing
dejar de
something.
hacer algo.
You
Porque
know,
¿qué
some
puede
volunteer
ocurrir
or some board
cuando
member
dejas
has
de
a
hacer
pet
algo? Que
project that
probablemente
that they started
algún miembro
and they
del
want to
consejo
continue to
tenga
keep
un
it going,
proyecto y quiera
but it's
continuar
really not
con esto,
relevant anymore.
pero en
So it's
realidad
hard to
ya
get rid
no
of. This
es
gives you an objective
importante.
way, an
Es difícil a veces
objective
rechazar
process
estas ideas,
to do
pero
that.
objetivamente podemos
And
catalogarlas con
as you
este
can see up there,
material.
we have
Como podemos
just some of
advertir
it, the art of
también,
membership that I
tenemos
mentioned
esto
earlier.
del arte de la membresía que ya lo mencioné, etcétera.
Fundraising,
Bueno,
I'm
en
not going
cuanto
to
a
spend a lot of time on this
recaudación
particular
de
slide, but we have a very
recursos,
robust
no quiero entrar en
fundraising
mucho
program
detalle. En esto tenemos un programa muy complejo y
is
robusto
really
de
designed for both
recaudación de fondos,
individuals and
diseñado tanto para
organizations.
personas
And that money,
como
100% of that money
organizaciones, y el
does not go
100%
to
de estos
ASAE
recursos no se
overhead.
van a
100%
lo
of that
general de
money goes to
ASAE,
ASAE's
sino
research
se va
programs.
a los
So
al
it's
programa de
it's
investigación de
restricted,
ASAE.
it's
El
designated
100% de esto
fundraising.
está
So it goes
restringido a
100%
estas
to
áreas.
ASAE's
Hay un
research programs.
100%
And
de
we
fondos
work
que
on
se va
that
a
and
estos programas de
raise
investigación.
that money, and we've been very
Nosotros
successful in
recaudamos
really
este dinero
moving
y
that
hemos tenido
forward
mucho éxito
over the
en
last
esto y
several
hemos
years.
avanzado mucho, sobre todo en los últimos años.
Now, the power of A, the power of
El poder de la
associations.
A,
This
el
is the
poder de la
brand that I was
asociación.
talking
Esta
about
es la
earlier
marca
that
de
is
la
not
que
an
yo les
ASAE
comentaba,
brand.
que no
ASAE
es
did
una marca
create
de
it,
ASAE.
and we
ASAE
did
la
trademark
creó
it, but
y
you don't see
la utilizamos de
ASAE
forma
on the
comercial,
power of A
pero no
brand.
vemos
It's a
ASAE
brand that
en
anybody
el
can
poder
use.
de una
ANDAMOS could use
de
it.
una
It talks
marca.
about the
Es una
power of
marca que cualquiera puede
associations.
utilizar. Se
Doesn't,
trata
not U.S.
del poder de las
associations, not
asociaciones, no de
Mexican
las americanas ni de
associations,
las
but the power
mexicanas,
globally
sino
of
del poder de
associations.
las
Because people don't
asociaciones
think
en
about
general. Porque la
associations
gente no se
in the
detiene
full
a pensar en
context of
estas
what they do.
asociaciones con el el contexto
So when
que
you think about
tienen.
it, from
Cuando pensamos
everything
en
you
ellos,
do
todo lo que
every day
hacemos
is
todos
touched
los
by an
días se
association.
ve
From
tocado
the,
por una
the bed you
asociación, ¿sí?
sleep on, to the
Desde
clothes you
donde
wear,
nos
to the cars
dormimos,
you drive, to
el
the
auto
roads
que
you drive on,
manejamos,
to the food
el
you
camino
eat,
que
to the
tomamos,
medical
el alimento
procedures
que
you
tomamos,
have.
el procedimiento
Everything
médico
is
que
touched
tenemos.
by an
Vaya, todo
association.
tiene que ver con asociaciones.
Either it be through
Ya
research,
sea
through
a
standard
través de
setting,
investigaciones,
you know,
de
whatever it might
situación
be,
estándar.
everything is
Vaya,
touched by
sin
an
importar
association. And it's
el
very
tipo, todo
important
tiene que ver con
that
asociaciones.
people
Por tanto, es
understand
muy
that because they don't
importante
think
tener el
about
conocimiento
associations
de
that way.
lo que
They think of
esto implica.
associations
¿Por
as
qué no pensamos
special
en las
interests
asociaciones
or
como son?
self-serving.
Simplemente
And while
pensamos en
associations
asociaciones
by
como
definition
algunas
are special
agrupaciones
interests
que se
because they're
sirven para sí
interested in their
mismas, pero en
profession
realidad
or
no,
their
son muy
industry
importantes
or
para
their
las
cause,
profesiones, para la
then there's nothing
industria,
wrong
para
with
las
that.
causas.
But
No hay ningún
associations are
problema
so
con
much
esto,
more than
pero
that.
las
What they
asociaciones son
contribute to
mucho
the
más,
overall quality of
que
life
contribuyen a la calidad de
that
vida
we
en
enjoy
general
in the
y
world,
que nosotros tenemos en
whether
el
it be
mundo.
U.S. or Mexico or
Ya sea que estamos
China or
hablando de
around
México,
the
China,
globe,
Estados Unidos o
associations
en
are
el mundo,
contributing to
las
that.
asociaciones
And more
contribuyen a esa
you see
calidad de
it
vida.
in places
Y lo
like
vemos
the
cada vez
Pacific
más en
Rim.
lugares como, por
You
ejemplo,
see it in
el
places
borde del
like Europe,
Pacífico
where you
o en
see the
Europa,
value of
en donde puedes
associations
advertir
and
el
what they
valor de las
contribute every day.
asociaciones y con lo que
So
contribuyen todos los días.
this is important to us.
Este
As I
punto es muy
indicated,
importante
it has
para
two
nosotros.
audiences.
Como les decía,
It
tenemos
has an
dos
external
tipos de
audience
público, un
and it
público
has an
externo
internal audience.
y un
The
público
external
interno.
audience
El
are
público
policymakers,
externo
the federal
son
government,
el gobierno
members
en
of
general,
Congress,
los que
members
hacen
of
las
the
políticas
administration,
públicas,
regulators,
miembros del
to really
Congreso,
talk
de
about
administraciones,
what associations do and
legisladores,
the
los que
education they
hablan de lo que
provide.
hacen
I
las
don't know the figures for
asociaciones,
Mexico,
y yo no sé
but
las
in the
cifras de
United
México,
States,
ciertamente, pero en los Estados
associations
Unidos,
are the
las
leading providers
asociaciones
of
son
adult
los
education.
que proporcionan más
Again,
fuertemente la
associations
educación
are
a
the
los
leading
adultos.
providers
De
of
nuevo,
adult
son
education in the
los que
United States,
proporcionan mayor
and yet
educación a
people
los adultos
really
en los
don't know
Estados
that or
Unidos
think about
y
that.
la
And
gente no
certainly
sabe esto.
policymakers don't.
Y
So it's
seguramente
important,
tampoco los
it's
que
critically
hacen las
important
políticas
that they
públicas.
understand
Pero
that.
tanto es
But
muy
there's also
importante
an
tener
internal
conciencia
message
de esto. Sin embargo, también
aimed at
tenemos un mensaje
associations to
interno.
talk about
Y
the
es que
fact
las
that
asociaciones se habla
we
de el
don't
hecho
value
de que
ourselves
nosotros
as much as
no
we need
nos
to.
valuamos, no nos,
We need to
nos
sit back
valoramos
and
tanto
value
como,
what we
como
do,
necesitaríamos
and
hacerlo.
we do for our members,
No sé,
we do for the public, we
valoramos
do for the community,
a
and so
los
that's an
miembros, a
internal
la
message platform.
comunidad,
So we have
etcétera.
two
Es una
message
forma
platforms, and
interna de
again,
evaluarnos.
this is not an
De
ASAE
nuevo, esto
brand.
no
You
es una
can go
marca
to
de
our
ASAE,
website,
podemos tener acceso a
thepowerofa.org.
de internet, del
It's
poder
free,
de la
doesn't
A,
cost anybody
no
anything, and
cuesta
if
nada,
you have an
es algo que
association
pueden
and you want to
utilizar.
put
Si
the
tienes
Power
una
of A on your
asociación y
website,
quieres utilizar
please do so.
el poder de la A en tu
It's
sitio
an
de
open
internet, no hay
access
problema, puedes
brand,
hacerlo.
and it
Es
really
una
just
marca
talks
con
about the
acceso, sin
collective power
restricción, y
of
simplemente
associations.
se refiere al poder colectivo de las asociaciones.
This talks a little bit about where we are today,
Esto comienza en donde nos
and most of
encontramos
this I've
ahora,
already
y
covered,
la
but
mayoría
as I
de
said, it's
esto
a
está
platform for us
cubierto.
to share our unique
Por ejemplo,
stories
si
to
tenemos
showcase
esas
the power of our
plataformas,
industry.
podemos ver aquí
I
cómo
brought
son
down
importantes para las
a
industrias.
tape,
Aquí
a
tengo una
video.
grabación, un video que les quiero
Okay, you
mostrar.
put
¿Lo
one on
podemos
now?
correr, por
Okay.
favor?
Associations touch everything Americans touch, everything you touch every day of your life.
We're with you every day. We're with you in almost everything you do, but you don't see us.
From the minute you wake up, the mattress you sleep on, to the clothes you wear, to the car you drive, to the bridges you cross, to the medical procedures you have, to the institutions you belong to. When you put it in a broad context, there are over 300 million Americans who belong to associations.
There's no question America's stronger with all of the associations we've got representing every sector of our economy, really.
Associations represent more than 1.3 million jobs in the United States. That's huge.
If you look at the broader workforce, 10% of the entire U.S. workforce is employed by a nonprofit, tax-exempt organization.
When you think about associations and their impact on the economy, it's the driver for continuing professional education.
There's a number of different resources that associations provide to help educate not only their membership but the general public.
Associations, no matter what the issue is, are really bringing that teamwork and collaboration to the table and making, I think, a huge difference with powerful results.
And that's really what the Power of A is all about. It's the power of associations, and communicate not only to policymakers, not only to the administration, but also to the general public about the tremendous impact that associations have on the quality of life that we enjoy in this great country. Also on that tape are, we give out something we call the Power of A Awards, and we have a dinner in Washington called the Summit Dinner every September, October, and about 1,000 people attend, and we give out Summit Awards to 6 associations every year who have demonstrated extraordinary service to their community or profession or industry. And we have on tape, we do a video of what they've done, and I brought that tape down. So part of this tape includes those 6 associations who got the award last October in Washington. And so I encourage you to look at that, because it really demonstrates the power of associations, and that associations do so much more than their own self-interest and their own and lobbying and advocacy for their own cause or profession or industry. ASAE around the globe. We started 2 years ago our first conference in the Pacific Rim. It's called Great Ideas Asia Pacific. We did it in 2014 and 2015 and 2016. We just came back. We did it in April in Hong Kong. Next year, we're going to do it in either Bangkok or Seoul, South Korea. And we bring together, just like you are here, association professionals from the Pacific Rim. We had association professionals from China, Singapore, Japan, Malaysia, Thailand, obviously South Korea, a bunch of 16 different countries, Philippines, so a number of different, and we had about 220 people. Though not a lot of people by the standards that we have in the U.S. for size of meetings, but it's growing, because what's happening in the Pacific Rim is that most associations that got started in China or Singapore or places in Malaysia were started by the government. They weren't started by the industries or the professions, they were started by the government. And what the government wants to do is to wean themselves off of supporting those associations and have them become
apoyo de estas asociaciones y
have them
cómo
become
volvernos
self-sustaining.
autosustentables.
And what they need to do in order to
Que lo
do
que
that is to
requerimos
move
hacer
from
para
hiring
poder
government
lograr esto
bureaucrats
es
to
movernos
hiring
desde
professional
de la
association
contratación
managers.
de burócratas a la
And so
contratación
there's a
de
hunger for knowledge
gerentes.
about
Es una
association
gran
management
diferencia la que
in
existe,
the
sobre
Pacific
todo
Rim.
en la gestión de
And
asociaciones
ASAE is
en
front
el
and
borde
center in trying
pacífico
to
con
provide that
ASAE, donde
knowledge and
estamos
content.
tratando de
We are not
proveerles
seeking
de
to
este
get members,
conocimiento,
although
de
we
este
take them if
contenido.
we get
No
them,
estamos
but
tratando
it
de
is not an
buscar
idea
miembros y
to
los obtenemos,
have
excelente,
members in
pero
that
la idea
area.
no es
What it
enfocarnos
is
en
an
tener
idea
miembros
to
en esta
share
idea,
our
en esta área,
content,
sino
our
la
knowledge,
idea
our
es
learning,
compartir
in different
nuestro
parts of the world.
conocimiento, nuestra
And so
experiencia en
we
distintos lugares
have
del mundo.
done that periodically
Eso
in
lo
Europe, and we'll
llevamos a
continue
cabo
to do that
periódicamente
in
en
Europe,
Europa
although
y lo
Europe has,
continuaremos
in some
haciendo
countries like
en
Germany,
algunos otros
France,
países como
Dutch,
Alemania,
they have a very,
Francia,
rich and long
Holanda,
history,
etcétera, donde
of
hemos tenido
association
una
management,
gran
going back,
historia
some
exitosa
400
de
years in
asociaciones.
Germany, to the guilds,
No sé, hasta
which
en
started
Alemania,
as
por
really,
ejemplo,
professional
se comenzó
organizations.
como
So
un
they have a very
sindicato
long
como
history
hace
there.
muchísimos años, 400
So
años,
we
como
have
una
mentioned
asociación
that.
profesional.
We
Y
also
bueno,
have a
ya
certificate
mencionando eso,
program.
también
Now, this is
tenemos un
not a
programa de
certification. This is
certificación.
not the
Perdón,
CAE.
este no es el
This is
CAE.
a
Este no se
certificate
refiere
program. It has
a una
5 modules,
certificación. Es un
5
programa de
courses to it,
certificación
and
que
it's
tiene
a
5 módulos,
Associations
5
101.
cursos y
So
se
if you're
llama
new to an
Asociaciones
association,
101.
and you just got
Si
hired by
eres
an
nuevo en una
association, this is really
asociación,
the
si apenas te
fundamentals of
contrató,
association
estos son
management. It's a
las bases,
certificate
los
in association
cimientos de
management.
la
So it's our
administración
certificate program.
de
We put on the
asociaciones en nuestro
program
programa de
in the
certificación.
U.S.
Entonces,
We also
hacemos
licensed
este
the
programa en los
program to
Estados
third
Unidos,
parties to
también
put
lo
on in
damos
various parts of the world.
licencias para
So
ponerlo a
we've
utilizarlo en
licensed the
diferentes partes
program
del
in the
mundo.
Middle East,
Le damos
in
licencias de este
Egypt,
programa
in
en
Jordan,
el este medio, en
in
Egipto,
Dubai.
Jordania, en
We've also
Dubái,
licensed the
y
program
también se ha
in the
licenciado
Pacific
en el área
Rim,
del
to both China and
Pacífico, en Asia
Singapore.
Pacífico, en
And so we've
China,
licensed the program to a
Singapur, y
number of
hemos
different
dado
places.
estas
And we've
licencias
licensed the
para este
program
programa
in
que se lleve a
Mexico.
cabo en
So,
diferentes lugares del mundo, al igual
that
que en México.
It's a great program,
Para
and for
nosotros
those of
es
you who
un
have
gran
taken it, I
programa.
think
Para
it gives you
quienes
a
lo
good
han
grounding
tomado, creo
if
que
you've
ya
never been in an
les ha dado
association before
un
about what
buen
an
cimiento
association
de
is.
cómo trabajar en una asociación.
We also have conferences
De la misma forma tenemos conferencias
the
como
one that you're at today,
la
but
que estamos,
we also participate in
en la que
conferences
estamos
like
participando
ANDAMOS,
ahora, pero también
ICA,
tenemos otras como ANDAMOS, ECA,
CMC China, which is
CMC en
a
China,
professional group
que
in
es
China
un
that gets
grupo
together every
profesionales en
December.
China que se reúnen
We
cada
do IMEX
diciembre.
in Frankfurt, we
Tenemos
do
IMEX
IMEX
en Frankfurt,
in
IMEX
America,
en América,
and we do AIBTM.
también tenemos IBTM.
And so we do a number of different
Así que,
conferences
bueno,
where we
tenemos
present,
diferentes
particularly at the
conferencias
IMEX
en
conferences, we do
donde
something up front
estamos
called
presentes,
Associations
particularmente en
Day,
el
where we
IMEX
do a
tenemos
day
el
of
Día de las
education for
Asociaciones,
associations.
en donde se dedica
And
un
I know
día
Sherry
a
has
cursos
actually
para
participated
los miembros de
in more than
asociaciones, y
one of
estoy
those
segura que
particular
ustedes han
programs.
estado ya en alguno de estos programas.
And of course, we have offices
Y por cierto,
in
tenemos también
Beijing
funcionarios
and
en
Seoul, South
oficinas,
Korea.
perdón, en Beijing y Corea del
We're
Sur.
working very closely with the
Estamos
Koreans to help them
trabajando
establish
muy de
what you're
cerca con el
establishing here,
gobierno coreano
the
para
Korean Society
establecer,
of
así como
Association
aquí,
Executives.
la Sociedad
And we're
Coreana de
also working in
Ejecutivos
China
de
to work
Asociaciones.
with,
Estamos
it's called
trabajando
CAS,
también
it's called
en
the
China
Sci-
con lo que
Chinese
llamamos CAS,
Association
que es
for
la
Science
Asociación
and
China
Technology,
de Ciencia y Tecnología.
and we're working very closely with them to form a group there as well.
Muy de cerca con ellos para crear una asociación ahí también.
So these are just some of the
Entonces,
logos of,
estos son
you know, we have
algunos de los
ANDAMOS up
logotipos.
there, we
Tenemos allá
have
ANDAMOS,
ASAE,
tenemos
we have the
a
Philippines,
ASAE, también a las
we have the
Filipinas,
Dutch,
tenemos a los
we have the
holandeses,
Koreans.
tenemos a los
So these are all the
coreanos.
various logos
Estos son los
of,
diversos
of
logotipos
association
de
executives around the world,
ejecutivos
that ASAE
de
is
asociaciones
engaged with
alrededor
on a,
del mundo con los
you
que
know,
está involucrado
on a
ASAE
frequent basis.
de manera frecuente.
And that concludes my
Y
presentation.
con
So
eso
thank you very
concluyo mi
much.
presentación, así es que muchísimas gracias.
Thank you, John. Guillermo, please, could you help me with the recognition, please? Agradecemos a John su participación el día de hoy
For his
y le entregamos
participation
un
today, and we would
reconocimiento
like to present him with
por su
a small
participación.
recognition.